Episode number 440.
Recruiting is a really big part of it. I feel like brands, especially B2B brands, have really come to understand it is as much about reaching out to prospective employees as it is to prospective customers.
Right.
If there's a war for talent out there,
Yeah.
you really want to make sure the right people find you and understand you.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. I hope you guys are having a great day today. I hope you guys are ready to get some fuego in your days, nights, weekends, or whenever you are listening to the show today. But after this show, I think you're going to want a co-pilot for your brand. Think about your brand and think about, especially if you're in the B2B space, how often are you actually shaping your strategy, getting your communications out there and launching your vision? Many times we're not doing that, but my man has been doing that from some of the biggest brands in the world, Mr. Shachar Meron. Shachar, are you ready to be real?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my guy. It is my pleasure. And you come to us with over 20 years of work experience in branding, advertising, and marketing, working with hundreds of brands, guys. Folks like TransUnion, Boeing, McDonald's, Intuit, Johnson & Johnson, Cars.com, and the list goes on. And now he currently serves as the partner creative service strategist at Blue Green Branding, where they're helping the market leaders specifically in tech and finance, guys, stand out from the noise. We know this is an industry that really doesn't do a great job of marketing. Let's be real. And some of the ones that do a good job at marketing, hint, FTX, we realize it wasn't the real thing. So the real big dogs of the industry need to do a better job of this to protect our money, to teach us about our money, because I think that's one of the missing gaps in school. Personally, I talk to my dad about that all the time, is that teaching kids really how to manage money in foundation. If you can do that, you're going to be able to do any kind of job, anything else. It doesn't matter. But if you don't know how to do that, you can get $1 million and blow it tomorrow, So, and you see that all the time in these horror stories, my guy. But before we get into the nitty gritty of business, take me into your history. Were you always into marketing? I see tons of branding and tons of ads in the background. Were you always into ads even as a kid?
You know what? I was always a creative type. I like to draw and do cartooning and stuff. And by the time I got to college, I thought I wanted to be an art major. But I also didn't want to be a starving artist. So I was kind of looking for where's a way we can kind of bring creativity together with business and other things. And advertising is what I landed on. Really been in that world ever since. That was, I think of this all as one big world: advertising, marketing, branding, design, all that stuff.
Right.
I think of brand communications. So yeah, got my education there at U of I, at University of Illinois, and then spent most of my career in Chicago in the industry, various agencies as a strategist and a creative. And then I came back down to Champaign. I also teach at the University of Illinois, advertising brand strategy. Yeah.
Teach too. So that's cool too, to be able to also share your knowledge with the students as things have changed. There's a lot of things you can do now. Obviously, we have ChatGPT that could write an ad for you. You have other tools that we just didn't have even 10, 20 years ago as assistants, in our lives. Not going to take away the creative aspect of the mind, but definitely helpful. I mean, there's some great technologies out there just to kind of speed up some of the cost and help save some of the cost to the client too. I think it's the benefit to the customer as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like AI and stuff's like a power tool for creatives, as long as you know how to use it. It's not just a substitute for thinking.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Google search. You have to just practice it, and you have to just kind of see what the results get you, and then you refine the search, and you kind of learn how to teach it. And then also at the end of the day, never replace your mindset, never replace your input into the machine, because what you put into it, it's going to spit out. But it definitely helps with the brainstorming, definitely helps with the creative process and idea creation, and just spitting a bunch of cool ideas out that you may have never even thought about, or you spend a god amount of time with getting a bunch of people in a room and with called managers and meetings, and you're just killing productivity, when you could use tools like that just to spur creativity, and then send it out on email and say, hey, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about these ideas? Let them answer on their own time, not force them all to come in on at one certain time and kill all their schedules. And obviously with 2020 after COVID and everything's changed as far as how business is done. Agencies, a lot of them are moving to some sort of ROAR kind of, they call it kind of results oriented agencies. where, work from home, work from wherever you want. But as long as you're getting your results done, that's what we're going to keep you accountable to, and less about the time that you actually sit in the office. I was here from 8 to 5. I mean, I was talking to Fred from 5 to 3 to 5, but I wasn't using that. That was, a lot of times people are there to 5, but they're kind of just BSing. So we've realized that there are more efficient models, especially in the agency business. I think
I got agency friends that they also grapple with, like, how do we still keep culture and a sense of our own identity when people are everywhere? So it's always a back and forth. I also talk to people, people with lots of experience. Most of them are pretty happy to work from home when they can and save a commute and be closer to the kids or whatever. Right. But entry level kids I know that are coming right out of college, who I see in my classes, they really crave a lot of that culture, and they want to be a part of it. So everyone's trying to figure that out.
Yeah, they need that too, probably, just to even get them the experience. Part of the experience of growing as a career professional is just being in the building with other career professionals that have experience, and they're teaching that, and that's vibing off. You don't get that quite as much as in a Zoom, but the life balance is incredible with, just the time availability to pop in, work on a Saturday at night, have Friday off in the afternoon, whatever that is, as long as you're getting your results done, which is very interesting, because I've always thought that way from the beginning, even when I started my agency in 2009 doing social media, because there's kind of a burnout in social, that happens, and agencies in general, creative ideas and inspiration. But talk to me about today, because today, what you guys are doing, my guy, is you guys are helping businesses that are specifically in B2B, but also in finance and tech, which is a space that needs a lot of help, get their names out there, position themselves correctly, have the right statement, and obviously do it with an agency. So with the agency, the best thing is it actually gets done. I always say that because a lot of business owners, they say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. And a lot of them, they actually know what to do, but they just have too many other things going and they just don't get it done. So
that's right. Yeah. As brand strategists, our job's not to make stuff up, but to kind of extract it from the experts and shape it into something that makes sense for their audience. Totally.
Right. Push that button and it's out there. You're out there now. And talk to me about that. What kind of brands are coming to you right now? Do you feel like that, obviously tech and finance, what are their concerns? What are their needs? What are their things that they're coming to you and saying, hey, man, we just really need help with this?
Yeah, a couple of things. So, branding and also, let's say, rebranding is part of that. Sometimes, lots of times, it's an existing company that's kind of outgrown its brand that it had at an earlier stage and now kind of needs to switch things up. What they have in common is they're usually pretty complicated. Their industry is complicated. Their business and offerings complicated. They might have a bunch of target audiences. And so they're all over the place. We've seen so many companies out there that might have something brilliant, but it looks so generic. They're saying the same thing as everyone else, or they get so technical so fast, you don't even really know who it's for. And as a result, they're kind of not living up to their potential. So often we get brought in if people are looking for differentiation, like we're kind of in a really competitive market and we know we're different and special, but we're not really getting it out there for our audience to see. Other times it's like cleaning up a bit of a mess. They're like, we have been doing acquisitions for a while, and as a result, our brand is kind of a collection of all kinds of different things. We need to get our product portfolio in order. We got to figure out how naming works at our company. Our logo usage is inconsistent. We entered these different countries and they're doing whatever they want. So a lot of times we come in for a bit of a cleanup job and also just setting things up for like long-term growth. Like, okay, that may involve a rebrand. Sometimes that does mean like, okay, we're different than we used to be. Let's get a new name, a new logo, new positioning out there. Other times it doesn't go that far. It's just like, hey, let's get ourselves tightened up, reflect the company we are today, and not the one we were 10 years ago.
Right. As far as social media goes, what are some of the things you're hearing, or does that ever come across your element? Because I know it kind of all flows together. Like you said, it's all just one big happy community these days, because whatever you're doing on print might flow through to everything. If you're doing it right, specifically, are you hearing what concerns or questions they're having about social these days?
Yeah, for sure. So social is definitely an important element. It's sort of like if that core branding stuff happens, and then from extension of that, they're like, let's promote ourselves. Let's communicate ourselves, put ourselves out there. That comes a lot of different ways. Sometimes that happens to customers, existing customers, sometimes prospective customers. Sometimes you're talking to your own employees, or recruits, investors, whatever, right? You want to make sure the same brand message is out there, but it's kind of like dialed up and down in different ways to different audiences. When you get to something like social, that's a very public facing thing. And you want to make sure that you are putting the same face out there that you're putting in your advertising and marketing, and that you're putting in your internal communications. Otherwise, people reject that. They feel like you're being phony. They feel like you're being kind of schizophrenic. They're like, wait a second, you look like you're all touchy-feely in social media, but then I go to your advertising and you're all about this. And then, your employees say you're all about that. So it's our job to kind of make that fit together. And for social, there's a lot of different ways that's used. Sometimes it's specific like product offerings and they have paid social. Other times it's like, here's what our company is doing in terms of just good corporate citizenship. So we just want to put things out there. Other times it's a matter recruiting is a really big part of it. I feel like brands, especially B2B brands, have really come to understand it is as much about reaching out to prospective employees as it is to prospective customers.
Right.
There's a war for talent out there. And
Heck yeah.
you really want to make sure the right people find you and understand you. So anyways, making sure all that stuff fits together. Sometimes our work extends all the way to like writing stuff. I mean, my background, I got to start as a copywriter. So sometimes, you're like, what, we've got these PowerPoint slides that show different messaging pillars and whatever, but here's some sample copy for you to work with. And here's how it looks.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, because it does flow through. I mean, going pre-2020, the big thing was new customers and more this and more that. And then post 2020, it's been, how can I get more people to work at the business?
Yeah.
And that's become a bigger concern for business because you have people moving around, less loyalty, and a lot of people moved maybe even to entrepreneurship too. I think there's a lot of people that got pushed into entrepreneurship and little mini entrepreneurship, and they realized, hey, I don't have to work 40 hours. I can work 15 hours on my own little mini gig or whatever it was. But you have a lot of the workforce got kind of dispersed. And then you have all these jobs that are still really not bad paying jobs. They're $15, $20 an hour jobs. They're well paying, but no one wants to come do them. And a restaurant can't build a new restaurant without a foundational hostess and line cooks and people that are going to wash the dishes. And otherwise the restaurant, you spend hours waiting in line because they don't have enough service. And that's unfortunately a lot of times what you'll see sometimes in different situations. They'll put signs out, sorry for the wait, we're understaffed, blah, blah. And I don't know when that's going to change. Maybe it's people getting more motivated. Maybe it's they don't have the right brand message, a variety of factors. But that's been now a more and more thing that you can use on social, especially you can use the Facebook employment ad posts, which are really, really nice. They can you can get basically job inquiries right there, and applications get sent right to your email. You put whatever email address you want in there, and essentially the job ad is out there. It's also on your page, but it's also in the job marketplace. And then the inquiries come into your email, so it's very convenient for the the recruiter or whoever is doing the talent. So whoever thought in 2009 when we started social media that we'd be doing recruiting ads, essentially helping people be a headhunter for the business. And then also, obviously, let's be real, a lot of customer service stuff happens in social. You're not responding to someone getting pissed off about you taking extra money out of their bank account. That's not going to go well. You know what I mean? So being there to answer those customer questions and concerns for banks, especially, and things like that are so important. Or someone goes, hey, I just saw on the news, 5,000 my bank accounts got hacked. What's up? You know what I mean? They just want to know what the thing is. And if you're not saying anything, it's kind of like you're giving into the answer of what they believe instead of just putting out the facts of what it is or whatever the best situation is. So I always think it's always really important for these banking customers to embrace it. I think a lot of them are still scared to embrace the conversation on social because they don't want the litigation maybe, or they don't want the backlash. But I think there's important to a conversation, because if someone's got 10,000, 1,000, $500, $500 million with your bank or with your business or whatever, there should be a conversation there. Otherwise they can leave. They can go somewhere else. And no one wants that, no business needs that. No, especially in the banking business, right?
Yeah. I like your restaurant example, by the way. I was just finished watching The Bear. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah.
Really love it. I mean, just as a show, but also I always look at these things through a brand lens, and they really nail the idea of the experience you get in a place and the employees that you hire and the food that you serve and the sign on the front of the door and the way you promote yourself. They all got to fit together. You can't do a few of these things one way. Front of kitchen can't say one thing and back of kitchen has a whole different thing going on. And that's like in a little micro level. Even companies like McDonald's get it. From what I understand, their top leadership still have to spend a little time working at a counter like once a month just just so that they can remember what it's like to be in there. And they recognize that that person, that face at the counter is the brand. When you're in that moment, in that consumer moment, that represents the brand. All those billions of dollars of advertising and marketing don't mean anything if you have a bad experience there. So banks, credit unions, crypto companies, they all have these things in common. They can think really deeply about all these complex things and how it works. But at the end of the day, it's like, what is the reputation and that instant emotional connection we make with our customers?
Right. And people at the end of the day, keeping their money or assets with you as a bank instead of choosing another provider, another competitor, etc. And yeah, especially in the McDonald's situation, now people are using the app to order things. They're using all sorts of things to order things now. So it's incredible how the experience has changed. But you're very right. The very point of that touch person, whoever gives the food, the smile, the whatever it is, the simple gesture, that's very, very important for that business to continue to survive. Because obviously, every business has a competitor. We don't think of McDonald's as having competition, but they do. There's competitors out there. There's small restaurant brands. There's people. Starbucks is a competitor to McDonald's. Bottom line, let's just be real. Starbucks sells breakfast foods. They sell lunch foods. They didn't do that 10 years ago. Starbucks did not do that 10 years ago. So Starbucks could be a competitor to many things, and McDonald's could be a competitor to grocery stores because they could obviously sell groceries there, and they could sell. So the interesting thing is what happens in that business, just like Target today sells groceries, and you never would have think you go to Target 10 years ago and you're picking up your groceries there. Now it's very common for you to go to Target or Walmart or wherever, pick up groceries too,
Yeah.
So
those indirect competitors, they're not as obvious, but like those are the ones that sneak up on you and completely change your industry. Some taxi company 15 years ago was worried about other taxi companies, and then Uber comes and just cleans them all out. So you got to keep an eye on those things. And that's, going back to the whole B2B world. Those companies are getting more sophisticated and understanding our stuff might be complicated, but we're still talking to a human being and we need an emotional connection. Our brand needs to stand for something. People have to trust us. They still make gut emotional reactions. A lot of times we work with tech companies that are still growing and receiving rounds of investment and funding.
Right.
Those detailed books, but they make a snap judgment of a company pretty quick because they know that they have just getting started. So
I think we're having a little bit of stability issues with the internet. So
sorry.
It's not anyone's issue.
Now
what we're gonna do, sir, is we're just gonna edit it and we're just gonna stop the video just so.
Got it. That was the first time I think it happened. I just noticed it.
Yeah, it was. Somehow, I don't know. I felt a weird glitch today on Zoom. So my guy in the business right now today, I also see that in finance companies and in these kind of businesses, a lot of people aren't even walking into the bank, right? Like we're doing our mobile banking, we're doing our conversations and checks and things like that. So as they build that out too, has that been something that a lot of the businesses and especially in the banking have pushed towards? Because I've noticed that lately, especially.
It's been going on for a while. I mean, I use an app for just about everything. The only reason I'd walk into a bank is if I was doing something bigger, like, hey, let's talk about opening up, a savings account for a kid.
Right.
We're trying to go for this. Otherwise, we don't really have bank tellers in the numbers and the way that we used to. The apps and things have really taken over. It's been going on for a long time, although I think we've now passed the tipping point where that's the norm. And internationally, that's becoming the norm. In fact, we work with some companies that are global and they're entering markets that kind of skipped over that phase entirely.
I've heard that.
Countries where they didn't ever even had internet access at home, they just, hopped right over computers, went straight to cell phones.
Right.
So all those things are changing all the time. And the important thing is just remembering, that's still an industry that's entirely built on trust. The only way it works is if they still feel you're a legit company that has their back. If they have that, then you can go to that next level of, look, we get you better rates. We have a better user experience, whatever it is. But that first layer of trust, which, I often communicate one-to-one with the brand, that's got to be really solid first.
Yeah. Number one, man, especially with your money and your finances and we know that's so precious to people, and people have, that's an issue that people need to work on. I wish that for the world is to learn about. Don't spend more than you make, folks. Try not to. It's a really simple one, but it's hard to do sometimes. I'm
the worst at that. I can't judge.
Right? No, I know. I've been through ups and downs, dude, with my finance, but I always just remember that, and if you keep that at your heart, you always win. You know what I mean? And then invest as much as you can, especially outside your business. because at the end of the day, you can only do so much in your industry, but you can get into all these other industries, and then you don't have to necessarily be working for your, your dollars. I was telling some people about that a few days ago that, put $500 into Tesla. Now it's 50 G's. It took 10 years. It's not necessarily I'm going to pull it out. It's in a retirement account, but that 50 G's is real money today. Yeah. $500 was 10 years ago. I didn't do any work though for the last 10 years. Like I didn't actually sleep at the Tesla factory like Elon. He actually was the one sleeping there for a year or two. The point is, as an investor, you just put the money in and you just let it sit. That's the beautiful thing about finance and the beautiful thing about investing too in companies.
As long as you put it in the right kind of thing, I guess.
Right. Because, you never
also
know.
Within industries where companies go bankrupt or, crypto, which is a very exciting field, it has its ups and downs as well. So,
oh my God, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
I've been in crypto since 2007 and I've seen everything. But overall, if you still put in $250 in Bitcoin and then just hold it, you'd have been great. You know what I mean? So that's
I hear those horror stories of people that bought a pizza back when with Bitcoin and now what would they have?
Oh my God, I know. And some of the other assets too. And then, like you said, just everything in diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a simple slogan, but just think about that, guys. Just put your money in something and then let it work for you. It's a beautiful thing. There's so many ways now. There's even really safe ways, Shachar, right now with like all the high interest, right? Like there's like 4 and 5% interest within banks and many things that you can you earn money on your money, right?
Yeah.
Super cool, baby. Now, my man, we're about to take you into our top 10. Are you ready, my guy?
Let's do it.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Apple, Netflix or YouTube?
I don't know. I think I'd have to say YouTube because Netflix, there's also Hulu and Disney Plus and all that other stuff.
Know.
YouTube is just its own thing, and I rely on it so much for both entertainment and information.
Right. The information, the algorithm is incredible on YouTube too. It just knows what you want to see next. Instagram. I
just know if I'm like replacing my dishwasher, I'm not going on Netflix.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it teaches you to be like a professional. It's amazing on some techniques. It's incredible the amount of cost savings, but also the information that you can learn right from other professionals right on YouTube within whether you're putting together a fan or you bought something, you need to put it together. There's instructional video for that. You troubleshoot this. There's something for that. It's incredible.
Totally.
Or want to learn, about branding? My guy's got videos on YouTube. Go check him out. We'll put the YouTube links in there. I was watching one of your talks earlier. Instagram or Facebook if you're thinking about social.
Oh God, do I have to choose between those two?
No, you don't. LinkedIn too, or you could choose another platform.
I enjoy LinkedIn partly for myself and partly for my students and clients, but I think I'd have to say that. I don't know if Reddit counts as social media.
Yeah,
but
Reddit is. It is.
As a consumer, I love Reddit.
Reddit's an incredible way of learning information about what people are talking about, right?
Yep. Plus, it's just fun.
Culturally current topics right now, live happening right now, baby. What are people thinking? Just kind of like Twitter too. Like that's what people are thinking, talking about whatever,
If it's still called Twitter, I mean, as of
whatever it's called. But the cool part about the social is whether you're browsing on your news feeds or you're just searching the feeds, you can kind of figure out what people are talking about via the trending stuff and some of the other stuff quickly and easily, just like you somewhat can on doing a search on Google. Find out what's going on in industry, learn about the information on branding or what's going on in AI. You can quickly kind of figure out some topics on AI. If you're thinking about a good meal, my dude, what are you thinking? Chicken or steak?
Steak, definitely.
Steak, laptop or a smartphone?
Oh, it depends on for what. I'm still.
If you have to get out the door right now. If you have to get out the door right now.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going off to work, I'm always bringing my laptop. But I guess I have to say phone just because I would never go without my phone, and I'm still going to do things on my phone while using a laptop. So use them together, I guess, is the best way.
Yeah, the best is the combo, baby. The laptop and the smartphone. Spotify or Pandora if you're thinking about music.
Spotify, I'm on that constantly. I love that platform.
So cool that you can just download a whole catalog of like a whole album. Remember the days like when you just we're not able to find an album, or are you a young buck and don't remember those days?
Oh, I do. I remember in colleges when like Napster and stuff was really coming out. So I enjoyed a lot of file sharing, and sometimes it was legit and sometimes not, but that really kicked in then.
Yeah, what was it? Napster, Blue Wire, or LimeWire? LimeWire. That was the other one too.
That was great. Yeah. So
hell of shit on there. That was a lot.
I don't miss buying a CD and not listening to 90% of
it. You can skip what you want, baby.
Yes.
Movies or video games? If you're thinking about just exploring, having fun.
I would say normally movies, but Zelda just came back out not long ago.
Oh,
I've been spending
nice.
way too much time on that. Yeah, so
Is it on a newer?
it's still on the Switch. It's on the
Switch.
Nintendo.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nice.
I remember 6 years ago, my son was born, and so we got the other kids a Wii. And the Zelda came out then. I was like, this is for you guys. And I'm the only one that ever played it. And then now that it came out a couple months ago, I'm the only one that plays it.
It's our youth, baby. Our youth is coming out. Nintendo knows how to get us.
Absolutely.
Reading books or listening to books?
I think still reading books. It's usually reading on a digital platform now, but I'd still like to read more.
You like the physical, digital book reading, like on a Kindle or something like that?
Yeah, usually on my iPad. I mean, I think it's just because my commute got way shorter when I went from Chicago commuting into the city to like down in Champaign. My professor commutes much shorter, so now I don't listen as much to books. I more read them.
Got you. I like that, my dude. So your commute's shorter. That's good. You get to get home faster. Hopefully.
Oh God, yes.
Stocks or real estate if you're thinking about investing?
Real estate is stocks are fun to watch, but real estate, you got to admit, in the long game is, I think, more of a reliable winner. That
Absolutely.
said, we bought our first house in 2009, so it was a matter of like, oh my God, is it always like this?
Me too, bro. I bought my first house in 2009 too, man.
There we go. So it's hard to talk about that like it's stable, but anyway, I think I'd still take real estate if I had.
You can always live in it. The hard part in stocks is it's just hard to choose a stock. So I always suggest if you're first investing, choose something for the whole world, like VT, which is an entire world. It's the entire world's growth. So that means you're betting on the whole world to grow over the rest of your life. Pretty simple. You don't have to pick a stock, don't have to pick a symbol. It's hard to really be stock picking, to be transparent. It can end up painful. Oceans or lakes if you're thinking about a vacation, my guy, because we all deserve vacations.
I was just having this conversation. I'll take lake any day, man.
Nice.
I like the ocean just fine, but lakes just are really fun. There's places I've gone with the kids in years past. It's maybe it's because we go in warmer weather. I don't know, but tubing is always a good time.
Oh yeah. And usually in lakes, Jaws is usually not in lakes as well.
No.
So that's another good
some nasty stuff in there.
You might see a huge bass or you might feel some weird stuff, but Jaws is not coming for you in a lake, most likely. When you're waking up for your morning, my dude, you're getting ready, pumped, energized, ready to go hit the branding world. Why do you love being you?
Man, I love my family. I love my job. I've been working for work-life balance for a long time, and I feel like I hit it,
Nice.
And it took a combination of like living this half life of half agency owner consultant and half professor. But it gave me that balance I'm looking for so that I can do things like dial it up during certain times of year and dial that down during other times of the year. And my commute's never more than 15 minutes. So I like it.
Dude, that's everything right there. That's everything, baby. That's the dream, baby. My business is called Living the Dream Sports Cars. We're living the dream, baby.
Right on.
In it, baby. Do you have a skill you're trying to master right now?
Yeah, it's funny. You were talking about AI earlier, and it's such a big part of so many of our worlds. But right now, I'm also rebooting my copywriting class, and this came along at just the right time. So I feel like it's necessary to master it. I'm not terribly original saying that, but as both a creative and a strategist, it's so valuable. And I'd be an idiot for not trying to master it right now. Plus, I've been the person who, like, for the past 15 years has told myself, I got to learn how to code. So maybe the ship sailed on that one. Now it's more about I got to learn AI a little better.
You don't have to learn to code at all, baby. Just tell the AI what you want, and then it will code it for you. And the other one that's cool, too, as well as ChatGPT is DALL-E on OpenAI.
Oh, yeah.
DALL-E allows you to create images with your like a Google search, and then created for you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Midjourney's out there too. Yeah,
Midjourney. Yeah, that's another really. It's Slides AI is another really good one, guys. If you guys want to make a PowerPoint presentation, it'll take an entire Word document and make any kind of PowerPoint presentation you want, and you don't have to do anything. It'll choose all the themes. It's incredible. I mean, it's not going to replace everything. You still need to go in there, touch it up, add it to it, edit it. But think about all the time it takes you to, click and copy and paste, and you know what I mean? So
yeah. I love it from an efficiency. I love it from efficiency.
Yeah. Yes.
But also something to remember. So working with a lot of tech and financial companies, they have a lot of proprietary and private
absolutely.
information. Also, just learning about the ethics and privacy around AI.
Absolutely.
We have most of our clients actually don't allow their content to just go through an AI filter because or generator because it goes out there into the public domain. So there's a lot of like, hey, let's pause a minute, see the right way to do this, not just from like get the best results, but also like long-term health.
Absolutely. Especially in these industries, especially like in the health and medical industries.
Oh, totally. Yeah. We've been in a
finance industry.
Like they would not allow that stuff to just get
exactly. People's data, their medical health records, you know, things like that are protected. So, but this is the world we live in, my guy, right? So it's it's fascinating. It is fascinating. Couple last questions for you. Is there an app or a favorite tool that you like using on a daily basis?
App or favorite tool? Man, I don't know. It's like we use so many of them.
I know these days.
And I'm trying to think of like software tool, or there's also different strategist models for things. Sometimes, I'm still like using a piece of paper and a Sharpie, and then I get my ideas onto my iPad and play around with it and Procreate, and then, bring it into Keynote and make it part of a presentation. And then, it's hard to know where do you pick a tool. So I just love that we live in this universe where these things have gotten so much easier to just kind of like connect back and forth.
Right. They're all integrated.
Yeah.
Life is
and you also don't need to spend a ton of money to get them. I mean, early days, you had to have a nice big agency with like top of the line machines to run these things. Now you can do it on anything.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And many industries, you wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff that you can do right on your cell phone.
Yep.
Right on your damn phone, man. It's insane.
Yeah, that said, there's so much more quantity of stuff as a result.
Right.
It's our job to kind of parse through the crap and kind of get to the good stuff.
It's like music. There's a lot more artists right now, guys, than there ever were back in the day because everyone can make music. I even made music for a period of my life. And
I've seen some of the videos.
There we go, my guy.
Did my homework too.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun part, for instance, of my life. But the whole point in general is everyone can make music. The whole world can make music now. Back in the 60s and 50s, there's only so many people that can make music because the computers and systems and technology, you couldn't just go buy a $20 program at Target, plug it into your laptop, go buy a $25, $30 mic, plug it in, and you got a recording studio. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. And I love that. Yeah.
It's incredible. And so same with the podcast. I'm using the same mic, guys, I've used since I started the podcast almost 13 years ago. 400 something shows, same model. We upgraded the computers, but the whole point is it's bootstrapped. I remember many people, you guys should build a podcast studio. You guys should build. It doesn't matter about that. It's about recording it, putting it out there, and doing it again tomorrow.
Doing it again, I think, is the key. I know a lot of people that started podcasts at many different stages along the way, and the ability to not record the first one, but the second one and the 10th one, that's impressive. So for you to go for that long is very impressive.
Let's go, my guy. We in this thing. Last question for you. If you could sit down for a steak dinner with anyone in the world, who would you like to chop it up with today?
Living or dead, or it doesn't matter?
It does not matter.
All right. Well, you know what? I just saw Oppenheimer over the weekend, and it was amazing. And I would talk to that guy. That guy has seen some things and knows things and sees things in a way that nobody else in the world did. So I'll do that for recency effect.
That would be great. I love that idea. Let's go. And then to learn about the business, so we can plug it into the show notes too. Where can we talk about the business? If you guys are in tech and finance, need that push, need that help. We have a lot of listeners in that industry. So where we'd love to generate them and send them your way.
Yeah. My listener, my audience is on Spotify and wherever your podcast is playing. Also LinkedIn quite a bit. I mean, nerds like me who just go on LinkedIn for fun too. Great place for that sort of a thing. So, and hey, your audience too. So wherever they tend to find you most, plug us there, I guess.
BlueGreenBranding.com, guys. We'll put you guys in the show notes as well. Folks, you've been hanging out with Shachar Meron and Travis, Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again so much for your time today, guys. And let's keep being real. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today. We're all going through a lot right now. And real-time outsource, my business, is giving back to local and small businesses
through our social media services and campaigns, we are actually helping small businesses get more exposure during these times, and also when we get through these times. At the end of the day, we don't know how long this is all going to last, but most importantly, you got to think about your business right now and take it seriously. So come check us out at realtimeoutsource.com, and we would love for you to qualify and get the process started where we can take a look at your business and see if we can qualify you for some of our services at little to no costs for most of the businesses. And some businesses, you're going to have to pay, but that's just part of life, right? But most importantly is that I think this is the time, folks, that you can actually help thrive in your business. And so I would love to help you personally with our team. We're all going through a tough time right now. So take advantage of us. realtimeoutsource.com. Check us out. And we would love to do some business with you and help you with your social and digital media in 2020 and beyond.